Hello again. Welcome to lesson 3. It's on the stages of grief and who am I still angry with? Today I'm going to share some of my angry letters in a little bit. Let's go over the different stages of grief. Let me move so you can see the whole picture. There we go. 5 stages of grief. There's anger, there's depression, there's bargaining, there's acceptance, denial, and isolation. As you can see, you can go from one to the other, back and forth. It doesn't always go in a nice perfect circle. So if you're in any of those stages of your grief cycle due to your abortion, then you can see that some of this is pretty normal for you. The quote I really like: refusing to forgive someone or holding on to regrets is like drinking poison and hoping the other person suffers. This is how I felt like with my unforgiveness and anger during this process, that I was just holding on to things that I couldn't let go of, carrying baggage I didn't need. And here's a few other areas why we carry baggage around from our abortion. Number one, time to lay down the baggage of what ifs and regrets. I've never talked with anyone that can change their past. I couldn't change my past. I don't know if you can change your past, but holding on to it, the what ifs, it doesn't change anything. It just gets you frustrated and causes you more emotional trouble. Things you can't control. Some things were out of our control at the time of our abortion, and we just have to accept that those things won't help us to go on with all that. So set down the baggage full of old sayings, self-talks, things that someone else said to you. Not sure, how many of you have had a lot of self-talk or anger, but it's sometimes hold you back from having joy and peace in your life. So take time, put your baggage or just push it off the cliff. Writing an angry letter helps to get it out. And then when you're all ready, shred it and put it in the trash. These letters won't be sent. They'll just be expressing your anger. So I'm going to read some of my angry letters so you get a feel of what maybe you should put in your angry letters. First of all, I wrote a letter to my doctor, and I told him, tell me how, with a doctor's degree, you could lie to me. How would you give me the 5th degree in segregation when I wasn't a criminal? How would I afford a baby? Who would help me, et cetera, till my head was spinning with confusion. How would I deliver a baby? You're only 15. How would I know? You only wanted me to have an abortion. I didn't kill a fetus or a blob. It was a baby. And I was 15 and told you this. And I had more brains than you, but you made me feel stupid. You succeeded. I did what you and my parents wanted. So as you can tell, I was fairly angry at the doctor. How about my mom and dad? How could you put what people would say about me above my needs? Did you ever ask me how I felt or what I desired? Did you ever think I would hurt too? Why did you only think about how I hurt you? Didn't you know how bad I hurt too? How? I pretended so you could feel better. I did this for my whole life. Your image would be damaged and I would live with all the pain, never allowed to talk about it. Keep the secret, you told me over and over. I did this. Dad, you knew. If you told me that I wouldn't sign to get the procedure, why? When he drove home, the anger and even hate I felt in my heart flowed through my body. I didn't want a thing to do with you. So as I lay on the couch crying, you came out and said, go to bed. Didn't you hurt us enough? That night I thought seriously of ending my life, and I believe it was God's grace I didn't. Then what would your friends say? Your sweet little 15-year-old girl killed herself? Then 35 years later, I thought you did it all, and I find out you chased my boyfriend away. I didn't know then, but I know now. So you see that I held a lot of unforgiveness towards my dad and my mom. And then towards the father of my child, my boyfriend at the time, you stood by me and wanted to even marry. You suffered as well as me, but you were 18. You knew I was young and innocent girl. You stole this from me. Then right after the abortion, you leave. No explanations. But I now know my dad ran you off. You then instantly gave me my ring to her and got her pregnant. Your baby came with your grandma to church. How bad that hurt to see that baby and think, what would my baby have looked like? You just have no clue what you did to me. And today I'm glad my dad ran you off. He did me a favor. So you see, I was fairly angry at the boyfriend too, who ran off on me. And this one's to the clinical workers. I have no clue what your name was. I got a lecture after lecture of how young I was. You slapped birth control in my hand and said I should never return. Years later, I hear that you give low dosage of birth control. So I would return. So many lies, quick fixes, no one will know. After I had my first baby, the nurse gave me a survey and told me I had an abortion. I wanted to yell. I thought no one would know. You never told me the emotional trauma. It wasn't a quick fix either. It was just lies, lies, and more lies. So those are my angry letters. I would like for you to write some of your angry letters down. And here are some of the things of common targets that women have gone through after their abortion. And maybe you want to just, you can't underline them, of course, it's on the screen, but you could write some of these down and then see what you think about your anger and letting go of all these. It took me years. I think it was 11 years before I just would let go of all the unforgiveness, all the anger, all the regrets, all the guilt and shame. So here are some underlining issues. Those who withheld the truth about abortion, which you see on my angry letters, that I held a lot of them accountable. Those who presented abortion as the best choice, I used that against my doctor. Yourself for allowing the unplanned pregnancy. The father baby for not being there physically, emotionally, or financially. Parents for pressuring you to have the abortion. Yourself for not being strong enough to choose life for your baby. God for allowing you to get pregnant, for not stopping the abortion. As you go to a quiet place, ponder if you had any areas of bitterness left from the abortion. Your angry letters to be written, not to be given to anyone. After writing and reading them, when you're ready, shred them. Let them go. It doesn't benefit you to hang on to all your bitterness and anger. And if you need to talk to someone, here I am. Once again, I'm available through email, text, and call. And I believe that when you get to a place where you can let this go and you can let your anger out, that you can move on with joy and peace that you need in your life. And like, again, I said before, I'm here to listen to you and talk to you. If you want to read your anger letters to me, feel free, contact us and we will be glad to help. And I'm going to let you go. And I pray that you take care and you join us now for lesson 4, which is naming your baby, which is a real release for me. I got to name my baby. I will share with you my story of naming my baby on our next lesson.